Hello everybody, what is up? Cobra here with episode 2 of Board Game Review. Now, we have a very special one. This is a very different Axis and Allies game, and today we are doing a review of Axis and Allies D-Day, June 1944. So, this game is a lot smaller than a normal Axis and Allies game. It's a lot smaller scale in general, whether it comes from the box size and also just the scale of the game, as the title may tell you, D-Day, which is a very tactical battle, not a overall grand strategy game like the world maps that you may be seeing of other contemporary Axis and Allies games like 1940 or 1942. So, as you can see with the box art, we've got this cool, nice looking box art as usual with Axis and Allies games, where we've got German units, we've got American soldiers, very nice text and everything. We've got the company, and new blockhouse pieces, which are a cool addition to this game. Sadly, mine did not come with any units, but I did get all the important parts, the setup charts, the not the card deck, but the map and everything, and I do have all my units right now, so I can play this game with my friends, which I have once. It is a pretty decent game, but this will just be a review of what you'll be getting in the box. Say you're trying to pick this up at a store and you want a quick look into what this game is all about. There are plenty of gameplay videos and reviews into Axis and Allies plastic pieces, but this is just an overall, what do you get in D-Day and what can you expect with the game. So as we open this game up, let's see, take out some of the stuff. So, when you open up this box, it will hopefully be a little more populated than mine, as mine did not come with pieces again, but this would be filled up with your player aids, such as your pieces in individual boxes, along with a card deck that will come with this game. The card deck basically helps you play the game a little faster. It'll have like rules and stuff for you to be able to quickly refer to on how to play the game. There's also a card deck on events that will happen that basically can sway the tide in either or favor, where it'll do stuff like do negative things to the Allied fighters, or it could slow down German reinforcements. But out of the other things that you will be getting that I can show you is the reference charts. Now, how this game works is, if you have played Axis and Allies, which I assume most of you have if you're interested in D-Day, is basically you don't actually buy units in this game. What you do is you place all your units on these different charts, and basically these are different waves that you'll be getting in this game. So, you can see that, for instance, we have the United Kingdom's first wave. So how this would work is turn 1, the United Kingdom would roll a die, and let's say they got a 4. They would count 1, 2, 3, 4. All 4 of these units would be placed next turn. Now, they missed out on the tank, but that tank would remain for next turn, where they would roll again, and let's say they got a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All of those units would now be put on the board, or landing on the beach. So, a very cool and different type of game, where you've got these cool reinforcements that can be added. And we've got one for every nation. Now, the Americans are also another nation that gets to do the amphibious assault. And as you can see, they do have a difference when it comes to the actual units that you'll be getting, where, as you can see, the Americans are landing with more infantry in the beginning, but then they follow up with a lot more armor towards the end. Whereas the British get a sporadic tank here and there, but do get a lot of artillery during their game. And they don't really finish that strong with just some infantry towards the end of the game. Lastly, you can see the Germans. Now, the Germans are a bit different because they are defending, and they basically can drop units in from 2 sides of the board. So as you can see here, we've got Germany's reinforcement chart, and we can see that it says enter at Rennes or Catras, and at this one it says enter at Rouen or Catras. So basically, they have different places that they can actually drop units in, and again, you would roll a die for this side and for this side. And you can see that the Germans definitely have a lot more when it comes to heavy equipment, where you can see in the beginning they get tons of tanks that can spawn in, if they get lucky. and towards the end they do get some tanks too. But the big thing with the Germans is the fact that after that first round and after those first tanks that they get, they are pretty much stuck with infantry and artillery throughout the rest of it. A very cool thing is that they did a lot of research when it came to this game, so they actually, as you can see here with these different little blocks, they've basically marked what actual divisions had come in, and these are basically all in historical order. So let's say that you're fighting and everything now, and then halfway through the D-Day assault, the 265th Infantry Division was called in to help out. So basically you get a little historical precedent when playing this game, which is very nice. Finally, let's get to the map, and we'll get this all opened up for you guys to take a look at. So here you can see the Axis and Allies D-Day map, and I gotta say, this is a very nice looking map overall. Now the size is very comparable to other Axis and Allies games like 1942 and 1941, being a smaller map but for this larger scale. And you've got a very nice looking art style where basically you can see we've got all these roads, we've got different towns, rivers. They don't actually play a part, but they do help to add to the aesthetic of this being something like a cool strategic map where each team is basically using this, say like generals basically, to play the game, as it would be in real life. And you can see it's very well optimized where they've left out things like setup charts because they print it on the map. So the Germans know where to place all of their infantry, their blockhouses, their artillery, their tanks. The Allies know where to place all their guys, basically different landing sites. So you can see all the different beaches that are also marked with Omaha Beach. You got Utah, Gold Beach, and Juno Beach, and lastly Sword Beach. Another cool thing about this game is that you've got airborne divisions which have dropped in, and they're there to add a little bit of chaos to the German lines early on, as they did in real life. So you can see where we've got where these planes have taken a path into the French or northern France, and you can see where the airborne are getting dropped in, where we've got 2 American airbornes and a British American airborne force over here in the east. So again, the important territories are also marked, so we can see, if you remember before, these are the territories where Germany can place in their specific units that they can roll for. And another important thing is to note about these cities, which are the main objectives of this game. The Allies are trying to attack those cities, and the Germans are trying to defend the cities. And as you can see, we've got 3 major cities, being Cherbourg, Saint-Lô, and Caen. And these are also very nicely marked, where you can see we've got Caen, and it's actually, drawn out like an actual city, where we've got the roads going to it, and all the little top-down houses that would be in it. And basically, though the cities are marked with a circle, they exist in the territory that they are placed in. So you can see Caen is in this square-looking territory here. So, another little quick thing to note over here is the airfield. Now this represents airfields in Britain, and basically the planes get placed over here in the end of the turns. So basically the Americans and the British can fly in their fighters or bombers to help out their land forces during the war, while also trying to avoid being shot down by German artillery. Over here we've got the cards that I mentioned before. The orders, again, help you to play the game. They basically tell you what to do during your turn and how to do it. And we've got the completed orders, so you can basically just place your things as you go along and keep everything in track. We also have a turn tracker, which is very helpful. This game lasts 10 turns, basically with the Americans or the Allies going together, then the Germans counterattacking, back and forth, until 10 rounds is up and all the cities are either captured or vacant. So basically, again, like I said, the Allies, as long as they possess these 3 cities at the end of the game, they have won. But if the Germans have kept them from capturing one, the Allies lose. And this game, I do have to say, is very fun when it comes to... It's a very balanced game, in my opinion. It usually gets down to, like, the last few units. You know, there's tons of units that are being placed that start the game, but usually it comes down to just a few capturing the last German city. Like, I know St. Lo usually lasts the longest because it's a lot farther back, and usually there's one final battle that occurs there. And with all these territories, there's a lot of room for maneuvering, which I really like too, where I had times when the British were basically driving their tanks around, flanking, trying to flank around the Germans to prevent reinforcements from getting in. And I've had other times when the American Airbornes have just gone on a huge spree of luck, basically taking out this whole peninsula here and capturing Cherbourg. But overall, I really like this game. It's a lot simpler. Plays in about an hour if you're competent with the rules. And it's a very fun and entertaining game to play. And you can usually pick these up for a decent price every once in a while. As I said, I picked this up at a thrift store and got it for about $2. Again, it didn't include the pieces, but I had all the pieces. And it was a very great buy to get. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed episode 2 of Board Game Review, and I hope to see you guys again. Cobra, out.